Hello, welcome to the Dear Creator YouTube channel. My name is Danny Daniela, and I am your self-investment storyteller. That means that I focus on content that helps us with our self-awareness journey, allow us to be the journalist for our own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and consider what triggers us. Why does it trigger us? What do we need to learn? How do we engage with this world in the most mindful way possible? One of the things I notice about my life is I consume a lot of content. And so I'm excited about sharing the content with you all today so we can review together, be journalists together as it relates to how we deal with relationships. And so today's content is inspired by Arlette and her show Pop the Balloon or Find Love. There's a lot of different Pop the Balloons or Find Love channels. Some are up and coming or showing different perspectives, but I really love this particular content and this creator because Arlette just has such a very nice calmness about her. She presents herself well. And she's in a marriage. They're promoting marriage. They are very intentional. It doesn't seem too sloppy or too out of control on their show. And so I'm thankful for her being a content creator in the United States of America. Okay, so as I was reviewing content or looking at content, I came across this interview that Arlette has with her guests after they match. And so the concept here is you watch the show, two people get matched. Oh, it's a match. Okay. And then those two people go off and they live in America. And then they find out, are they really truly a match? And so today we're going to watch this segment together of two people who match. It didn't work out, spoiler alert. But what I want us to do is I want us to figure out where we stand when we watch content with men and women engaging with one another. I have consumed a lot of content where there's this rise with men pretty much calling out women, saying all the things that they're doing crazy and wrong. And then we have content of women saying what they don't like about men. What I want us to challenge ourselves to do on this channel is look at all sides of the story and even figure out why are we so triggered on one way or the other. Figure out if there's any personal responsibility or accountability that we can take. And do we always have to be so aggressive when we are leaning on one side of the content and the others? And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of content that just pretty much tears us apart. We're not looking at the full story. If the content is focused on men and building up men, there's a lot of tearing down of women. If the content is focused on women and building up women, there's a lot of miscommunication about accountability or choices that we make that creates this type of environment. So I don't know if I'm making sense. Maybe I'm not, but here's the goal and idea of today's experience. We're going to watch this show together. And if you are someone who engages in content where you find everything wrong with men, I want you to look at this and see if there's anything that you find bothersome and identify why it triggers you. And then I want you to shift perspective from yours and how you see the content to how the other person might see the content and try to feel out what they could be going through in their mind. On the other side, if you are a woman and you are upset about what you see in the content or what annoys you in the content, if it applies, maybe it doesn't apply based off of what we saw, but okay, we'll see. If it applies, I want you to try to consider yourself the other person, right? So this is what we call role reversal. We're reversing the role of feeling how we feel and just tapping into it. Doesn't mean it has to be a truth. It doesn't mean it has to be something that you hold on to, but I want us to practice what could possibly be going on in the other person's mind. And if we can't even attach to what's going on in the other person's mind, is there anything in our environment, in our society that we can imagine is contributing to a person acting this way or speaking this way? So run with your imagination with this. Most of this is just us reviewing together this content, but I also want us to apply it to ourselves. When I'm watching content, I always see that we are bashing one way or the other. We all have one side of view. So we watch a channel where it's, oh, I agree with them. And so I watch this channel because I like this channel. And mostly, that's just how we are designed to do things. But here, let's just challenge ourselves. Okay, let's challenge ourselves to figure out, why are we this way? Is there any benefit? Is there any growth that can happen if we decide to look at both sides of the story and practice this role reversal type of experience? Okay, let's go ahead and watch Arlette's interview.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's your host, Arlette, and we are here today with Brian and Valeisha. Welcome, y'all. How are we feeling today?
All right.
Good. It's good to have you guys back. We did have you both on episode 22 of Pop the Balloon or Find Love, where you guys ended up matching. He said yes. Now, is it going to be a yes for you for him? We got a match! I'll take this mic and you guys can go on off. Go ahead, it's one of them. Oh. Hey, let's give it up for them! And so, obviously, during your episode, there were quite a few comments and things like that. And we got to know you guys just a little bit. But if you do want to, dive in and let us know just a little bit more about yourselves, Valeisha, let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, I will just start by saying I do real estate full time. I am bi-coastal between Arizona and the DMV area. I don't know what else about me I should say.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay.
No little ones, no pets. It's, I'm just a single independent woman out here.
All right. And then Brian, if you want to, let us a little more about yourself.
As I said in the show, I'm 38. I'm in the network. I do a lot of IT. I also have my own business. As far as home improvement.
Okay.
I'm in the fitness, big into fitness. Also motivational speaker. I like to motivate. Also, I'm starting my own podcast in the process. It's called Word to Wise Podcast.
Nice.
So I'm building that. And just that pretty much it. I'm just an open-minded individual and just willing to open with, different people that's trying to build as far as like podcasts, as far as like growing businesses and stuff like that. So that's just pretty much it.
Okay. So what made you guys want to apply to be on Pop the Balloon? Brian, we could start with you.
What made me want to apply? Honestly, I was looking for love.
Mm-hmm.
It was an opportunity that presented myself to. I actually was watching the show prior to being on the show. So I pretty much decided to get on the show. I said, well, let me just try this and see what happens. I was astonished that I got chosen to be on the show. But so that was my main reason, to actually find love and see what happens,
Okay. Valeisha, what about you?
Like Brian, I was watching the show and one of my friends actually was telling me I should apply. And it was really because this year there was a lot of changes in my life, and I've always been the type to go from relationship to relationship. But like this year, I've been more doing the inner work and introspect on myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm ready to date. So I thought that would be a good way. And when I found out it was based in Arizona, where I'm from, I was like, let's see what happens.
Well, I'm glad you guys both decided to come on the show. It was definitely a pleasure having you guys. And then so just to kind of dive into the juicy topic at hand that everyone is obviously dying to hear, since you guys ended up matching when you were on Pop the Balloon or Find Love, have you guys gone on a date? Oh, silence.
Yeah,
Are we hearing silence?
Hey, all I hear is crickets. Because
I didn't know who should start that. We did see each other after the show. So
okay.
We could say that, it was a date.
Okay, so you guys went on a date like right after the show, like after you matched kind of thing, or?
No. I mean, the group went afterwards. We all went out, but then the next day, Brian and I met up.
Oh, okay. That's good. Wow, y'all kind of scared me. There was a little quiet. So what where you guys
Well,
go? What you guys do?
It was kind of like, well, Brian can probably tell you, but it was unexpected because I think he was supposed to catch a flight out, but he was here. So, Brian, you tell him. I don't want to be telling your business.
Yeah. Let's hear from Brian.
So what happened was, after we left the show, we ended up going to what was the name of that spot we went to?
No, I was just talking about you missing your flight, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm getting in the intel of deep of everything we did.
Yeah.
We went to the spot pretty much. What was it? You don't even know, so
I don't know.
All right, but anyhow,
it was a sports bar. It was a Sunday. It was Sunday after.
Everybody from the cast of the show, we hung out there at the spot.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up unfortunately missing my flight. Had so much fun. Ended up getting caught up with time.
Mm-hmm.
Missed my flight, and ended up having to stay the next day. The following day. So I hit her up and said, I'm going to be here. I was a little mad about the situation that I ended up missing my flight. So I told her, I'm going to be here. Can you come hang out with me? Can you keep me company? She was like, yeah, sure. Why not? So I said, where can we go? And I guess we ended up going to like some little, I can't recall, but I know it was like a bar or something. We ended up watching the football game and catching up and stuff like that. And ended up leaving there. She ended up taking me to her mom's house, and I met her mom.
Oh,
mom was pretty nice, I had,
It wasn't like that. Don't, oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
I told him, I asked him first. I was like, are you okay with this? I know it's weird. You don't know me, but my mom was like, come by the house, come by. You need to see your sister. And it was like, Brian, are you okay? Like, that's kind of crazy to make him do that.
Okay.
Well, I'm giving story by story by, in sequence of what happened, and that's how it happened. Yeah.
She was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That happened.
So you went to the mom's house.
Right. Had some good old spaghetti.
Ooh.
With the garlic bread and the butter on it. But yeah. So that's how the first day went. I would say that was an official first date.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Valeisha, how was it for you?
We went to a couple spots, actually. The first place we went to, I picked out, but I didn't like it. When we got inside, it was, I just didn't like the vibes. And then he found a spot in Tempe that we went to, but it was the same. It was like a nice little sports bar. And then I took him to one of my favorite rooftops in Tempe, where I suggested it. We rode together. And then we went to a rooftop, and then that's when I was like, hey, my mom is asking if I could stop by. Are you okay with that? And we stopped by. But yeah, that's pretty much how the day went. And then I had parked, so he took me back, and that was it. It was kind of like unofficial date, but we spent time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a date. You guys got to, hang out, do some things together, all that stuff. Maybe obviously get to know each other a little bit more as well. So how was getting to know each other? Have you guys gone on any other dates after that point? I know you had to go back home, Brian. So have you guys been able to meet up after that?
It hasn't been good.
Uh-oh.
It didn't make it past Arizona.
Okay, why?
It didn't make it past Arizona. I mean, I just felt a disconnect.
Okay.
And it was a disconnect that I felt, and I can elaborate.
So you felt the disconnect from that day that you guys hung out, like that entire day?
No, the date went good. Everything went swell with the date. I enjoyed her energy. Like everything went swell with the date. But I'm talking about as far as
afterwards.
The whole. There you go. Yes, the whole afterwards.
Okay. So what? You can go.
The disconnect. It was so basically the disconnect. I felt as though she wasn't into me. I felt as though I think the disconnect was more so her not being honest of what she wanted on the show. She didn't present what she wanted on the show. She didn't say that she said that she told me honestly, she said that she don't like smokers. Mm-hmm. She never said that she don't like 420 weed smokers. Okay, so when she found out, when she found out that I smoked marijuana when we hung out, it was an issue. Oh, you didn't let me know that you do this. Why didn't you let me know, this? And I said, you didn't state that on the show. How did I know that you didn't you didn't state that? Because guess what? It would have been way more popular.
Let's pause, y'all. Let's pause because I want to engage. I want to interact with these self-awareness assignments. this is something that stood out to me, and it's a reason why I chose today's content, is because I've been in a situation before. Oh, looks like my camera went out. All right, so I'm going to pause here because I want to engage and share with you why this stood out to me, this interview in general. It's because I've been in a situation like this before where I'm communicating with someone thinking that I was okay with something, but then when I actually experienced it and learned more about how they engage with something, I learn more about myself through that interaction. So my question to you all is, when we're communicating deal breakers in a relationship, how important is it for us to understand the depth of those deal breakers? So when I watched this Pop the Balloon show, I would admit that people would need to go into their deal breakers or those starter line questions as soon as possible. For instance, we have the show located in one state, and then you have people popping a balloon because they don't want to date out of state. These should be the questions that you have in the very beginning. Like, when I'm saying all of the things about myself, my age, my location, I should be sharing that I am open to dating someone in another place or not open. These are just important questions. So it's just this lack of communication, I think, that we have because we don't know enough about what we don't want and what we do want. So how important is it to clarify personal preferences and deal breakers early in dating to you? Can misunderstandings like this one, where assumptions are made about behaviors, be avoided? The other question you can choose from is, when you discover a difference in expectations, like with smoking habits, how do you approach finding common ground? Are there ways to handle these situations without feeling judged or disappointed? And let's go back into the video and see what else we learned from here. But those are our two questions. Choose one, choose two, or in the comments, just let me know how you feel about this moment. Does it bother you so far? Are you triggered? Is anything coming from you that inspires you to start conversation?
Balloons. You wouldn't have made it to the round you made it to.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because guess what? Other guys would have popped on you.
I see. So Valeisha, I remember on the show, you definitely did say your deal breaker was cigarette smokers. So did you mean to also say that as well? Like with the marijuana, or?
I said what I meant.
Okay.
So I said cigarette smokers because that is the deal breaker.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what Brian's speaking on, I don't have a problem with people who smoke weed. I can't say that I never have. I can't. That's not my thing.
Okay.
We were spending probably 2 hours together, and he smoked twice.
Oh.
And then, of course, after smoking and you're going to come next to me and be up under me, then I don't really like that as much. I didn't necessarily say that I had a problem with it while we were on the date. But then when he had to smoke again, and the next day when he checked in and he was like, so how do you think the date went? I was just like, we FaceTime. And I was like, just to be honest, I was like, it was kind of a turnoff that you felt the need to have to smoke twice. So do you have do you smoke daily? I didn't know. And he was like, I do, or whatever. And I was like, I didn't realize, yes, you're right. Maybe I should have said someone who smokes daily is a problem for me. Or actually, and we didn't even, he was like, at first he was like, I won't smoke around you. So we didn't just stop talking there, but he did kind of like rub me the wrong way when I said that was a turnoff, because he went like a little 0 to 60 on like, you should have said that. And I was like, bring it down. Hold on. Like,
Yo, this is so interesting to me because I want to make sure I'm not biased because I engaged in a situation like this before. But when I'm hearing it and I see that he's backing up that he did respond this way, I'm so curious, because based on what I see in the Pop the Balloon show, you're not collecting these very nuances. You're not collecting this data. Like, I didn't realize that I don't like how close that is. I didn't realize that if somebody is smoking near me that I would feel this way. And this is the part where we learn each other. And it appears this way, and I just want to get into this a little bit more, but it appears that this man is like, you should have said that. You should have knew all of these pieces. But do we always know and at that point, or do we experience and then we learn? And can we realize that everybody's not going to have all of it together if we're just learning this. It could be, I don't like smoking and I never want to deal with anybody smoking in any manner. But it seems like she had some type of nuance where I don't like cigarette smoking. I'm okay with someone who's smoking weed, but if you're okay with it, I don't want you to come around me. That seems fair. Let's look back into it.
I probably should have said that, but I'm telling you now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like, he just really took quick offense. And it was like, I don't really know you yet. For me, it was a turnoff. Like, stay tuned.
Well, I can attest to that. I'm aggressive. I'm an aggressive man, and I stand on what I mean. So at the end of the day, if you stand on what you mean, you should have been upfront with what it was. I shouldn't have to go through, all this to figure out, oh, you didn't like weed smoke. I should have known this on the show. I should have known this.
Did you miss what I said?
I hear what you said, but I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Stop saying that I have a problem with addictions. How about that? I should have said that, right?
Yes, you should have said that.
But
so you're saying
it's not an addiction.
You're assuming that he's addicted to weed.
I asked him if he was addicted to weed, and his response was, "I smoke every day." So, are you addicted? I know that's not for me to say. I guess I should have. He just said, "Yeah, I should have said that." Okay. So if that's the case, I said I don't want to smell it. So he said he won't smoke around me, and I said, "Okay, I agreed that. Let's try this again when I'm in Maryland."
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't saying exactly like I wasn't cutting him short for that. It was a turn off after the conversation, after the communication that followed. And then he went online and said that he should have popped my balloon. And I was just like,
where was this?
Yeah, I should have popped the balloon. Yeah, I said it.
You said it where, Brian?
Said it. I said it on Instagram. Media. I put it on, and she blocked me after that. Yeah, because that's how I felt. Like, honestly, like I could have met the other woman that came after her that was, I mean, I'm just saying. She's a great woman, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, this is who I am. Take me as I am. This is me. Like, if you would have told me what you like, I would have said, okay, cool. Pow!
Right. We don't know each other yet. Let's be clear.
This seems a little unfair to me. I'm trying my very best to look at both sides, y'all, because this is what I want us to practice. We're looking at both sides and trying to hear people out. But it seems a little unfair because he's saying I would have popped my balloon and someone else could have came out. But is it absolutely guaranteed that the next one would have came out and would have even thought about that? Our deal breakers are our deal breakers, but there's probably some more about that deal breaker that we didn't even know existed. Because if her deal breaker was just smoking and it didn't include weed, she wasn't in the wrong. And how would she know that it would have upset him, made him upset the way that it did? I think this is just interesting to me. And I'm not calling it out because I want to just focus on like him being like very unfair with this engagement. We went on the Pop the Balloon show. The Pop the Balloon show was so interesting because hello, you don't know all the things that you can know. It's almost as if you get a little bit more intel. If you're walking down the street and you see someone who's attractive and y'all started talking, there's so much you don't know. What happens is called discovery. On the Pop the Balloon show, there's still a lot of unknown information about the person. And I would suggest anyone going on the show to really understand some clear things about relationships and about yourself. One is this topic about deal breakers. Communicating your deal breakers to a T is what this man is teaching me, is that be very clear. Do you really not like smoking? Do you really not like people who smoke weed? Or are you, what is it? Are you, what is the word called, guys, when you engage with it just because, I can't think of the word. Tolerant, okay? Thank you. Are you just tolerant of people smoking weed? And I think this is clear. I think there's space for him to say, you should have never said that. Because in my experience, I thought this is the whole thing about discovery. We learn through engaging with other people what we like and what we don't like. So I would think, I don't ever want to be with anyone who I have no problem with people who smoke weed, right? So the idea is I don't have a problem with people who smoke weed, but my reality is I don't have a problem with people who smoke weed because my experiences have been once in a while I go to someone's house and they smoke weed. I don't smoke weed, so I'm not thinking about what does that world really looks like. What does it look like to be around people who smoke weed all the time, right? It might be one case where you're at somebody's house for a week and it's like, oh, they smoking weed all the time. And then you learn like, okay, maybe I don't like to be around people who smoke weed, which she discovers about herself and she communicates, which I think is fair because they do not know each other. But I want to know in the chat, if you're in a situation where you are communicating a deal breaker, but you don't know the full story of that deal breaker, what are some really good discovery questions that could have happened here? How do we respond to these discoveries, right? Like, do we get upset and say and just make an assumption? I think there's an assumption here that the next woman that came out wouldn't have communicated the same way. She might have been focused on one, being nervous. Two, I'm not really sure what it is that I want. Three, I don't know a lot about these people, so I'm just gambling out here. So there's just space for it. That's what I believe. Let's go back into the video. Yikes.
Like, you can't just state all of everything that you want because that's the purpose of getting to know
You're
someone.
on a dating show. Every other woman stated this, that their preference, that they don't like weed smoker. They was specific, very specific with what they meant.
I think you have a problem with listening. I think you have a problem with listening because, like I said, you can smoke weed. I told you not to smoke when you're with me or like when
there's no, I understand what you're saying, but how can you say this like a smart person? You can't tell a person how much they can smoke or do this and that. If you smoke weed. It doesn't matter how many times I smoke.
You're right.
I can smoke 5-6 days if I want to.
You're good. I'm good. You're right. I'm wrong. You're right.
I smoke weed. You can't put no. And I did say that I was going not smoke around you. And then here's what happened after that. The disconnect was off. No calls.
So after that conversation where she said, or you guys had the discussion, you're like, okay, I won't smoke it around you. You're saying after that, she stopped talking to you.
Well, she didn't stop. I just, like I told you, I felt a disconnect. Like I texted her one morning, like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I might say good morning. And she texts back, good morning. So I said, how are you? I didn't get a text back for about 6 hours. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is
okay.
Like,
you know
why
what?
I get a sex for 6 hours?
So what happened?
I was asleep. What you say? Go ahead, explain this.
I told him my phone wasn't working. One.
Oh, okay.
It was at the time, Brian, and I told him.
I'm talking about the first time. That's the second time. That's the second time when you said your phone was working when I text you. That's the second time. The first time when I first texted you when I said good morning. Do you recall it when I said good morning? And then you said good morning back and I said, how are you doing? And you didn't text back for 6 hours. And then you finally said, oh, I'm sorry, I was asleep. You don't remember that?
You know what, I don't, because guess what? I have bad memory. Let me tell you that now. Maybe that's a deal breaker for you. But let me tell you, I can't look at my phone because the receipts are on my phone. We're using our phones. But if I delayed in speaking to you, I delayed in speaking to you. Like, we don't go together. It was probably I said.
That ain't gonna work with me.
And I got back to you. It wasn't ignoring you. I told you what was going on.
That ain't gonna work with me.
He jumped to.
Okay. So in the spirit of looking at both sides, I found a side that doesn't make me as irritated or triggered. Okay. Because again, we can look at from a woman perspective. I probably can understand women a lot more than I can men, but I do make a lot of room to understand what's going on in the psyche of the man, because at the end of the day, aren't we supposed to like each other? We go back and forth and we detach each other or divide each other. But like, if we like each other, we have to make space for what he says here. He says, I am who I am. That means we have to accept men for who they are, how they are, if we want to be with them. And men have to do the same thing. So when I hear content online where it's like, women are doing this and women are doing this, acting like this and like this, it's like, if that's who they are, if that's who you think women are, and you like them, you want to be with them, that's part of the equation. Are there different types of women? Are there different types of men? That's where we all go wrong, is that we're matching with the wrong type of people. If we want to match with a woman who, if I'm a man, I want to match with a woman who likes the fact that I smoke weed, to his point, we need to match somebody who's tolerant and accepting of it. If not tolerant, absolutely accepting of it. But when we try to mix match and maybe compromise ourselves, so in this case, we're thinking about her. Maybe she knew that she didn't like weed smelling, or maybe she kind of didn't like it. And then she was tolerant of it because maybe there was part of that connection that she liked. So these deal breakers, the conversation of deal breakers is what's really strong. Like we're going to have an attitude about it. We have to be true. He says something really important. He says, I am who I am. And we have to realize that people are going to be who they are. No matter how many YouTube videos we do or podcasts that we do trying to make people something differently, people are only going to grow if they want to grow. People are only going to be aware if they want to be aware. It's a choice every day. But for the individual who might be triggered by it, bothered by it, I'm not sure if it serves us to continue to just go into content to like make the people the way that we want, or just destroy them on our content to say how stupid or bad they are, versus giving some credit or giving some airtime to people like Arlette and her husband, who are putting on a dating show. They're working together as a team. They are doing their podcast together. They seemingly have a passion to work together. They seemingly support each other. So there are cases, there are stories of people, of a man and woman working together. My challenge for us all is to look for more content where we do see men and women working together. What are some of the characteristics of behaviors like that, versus us finding all the content in the world to say a man is doing it wrong this way and a woman is doing it wrong this way? I don't know. This is what this whole video shared in my world. I was thinking like, man, I like this video for so many reasons. You're going to see one of my favorite reasons soon. But I like one thing that's happening here is that we definitely see that they didn't work out together, but it doesn't really seem like they are going at it. It's they're still smiling. They're still trying to be decent. They're still being themselves. But the interaction here, I find it to be good content. It makes for good conversation because they aren't really going to at it with each other. They're really discussing key points about communication, key points about deal breakers. And that's just the content of it. It has nothing to do with the man or a woman. It's just the content of the conversation that they're having that we're learning from here. So you guys let me know in a comment. Are you learning anything? Are you triggered by anything? Is there anything shifting as you look at both sides of the story?
Ooh. Like we was together already. Like I was already baby or somebody, and he was already like, I need this communication from you. And I was just like,
correct.
One other thought. When we like each other and we like somebody, I don't know, maybe I'm making this up. But when she started to talk here, this is when I started to lean towards understanding him, because in the beginning of a relationship, if I like somebody, I'm going to be looking for that text. I'm going to be engaging. I might wait for them and see and see if they're going to take a long time. But if she was given that type of energy, perhaps she gave that type of energy for two reasons. One, he probably went off on her and she didn't understand it, so she probably stepped back a little bit. And for two, she might carry this mindset that I'm not that interested because I'm starting to see in this discovery period that we might be a little different. But perhaps I'll make room to see if he is just being himself and that correct himself, because we all are humans and we're going to disappoint each other at one point or the other. But we have to make space for that forgiveness over and over again, especially in relationships. But a certain type of forgiveness, I think. Let's see what's happening next.
Every man needs it.
Brian, I said when we get back to Maryland, we can connect. Like it's literally been 2 days.
How can you connect when you got a disconnect? And you feel
when
a
I
disconnect?
see you, we're going to try this again. That's the conversation we had. It wasn't like, let's give this. Okay, I said I was going to be open after the whole weed conversation. I said, when I get back to Maryland, we can have a date. We could try this again. So why didn't you just give it that opportunity?
Because after that call, when I told you, you said your phone was broken, this and that, and I sent you a text message. I said, you're not really feeling me, are you? And you said no. You said, honestly, not really. I can pull a text message. You said that.
What did I say
asked you
before
a
I
question.
said that?
Whew.
You tell me.
I said, if you're so pressed to find out if I'm already feeling you, instead of wanting to give it some time to get to know you, if you just want to run off and tell them whether this worked or not, no, then go ahead, tell him it didn't work. Because he was so pressed. He
Because you
kept
didn't
pressing
care.
to know. Why would you press someone to know, are you feeling me? Who asked that? Like, just let it
I need to know for my
flow.
own security. There's no letting nothing flow because I'm a man. At the end of the day, I need to know for my own security.
So
At the
you
end of the
wanted to
day.
know if she's feeling you so that
Yes.
you can know what kind of energy to give back. Is that
Yes,
like,
Alette.
okay,
Yes.
I can understand that.
That's
so, Valeisha, what led to you blocking him?
Because I told him that I was open to having more communication with him when we came to Maryland. The fact that he couldn't even get 48 hours before asking me again if I'm feeling him, like, I get that you want to communicate with people, that's cool, but you did turn me off a little bit, but I'm willing to give this another opportunity, but don't press me. Like, don't press this when we're trying. Like I said, we can try a date when we get to Maryland. Why would you hit me up after we just had this conversation and ask if I'm feeling you?
Real quick. I love the fact that he was willing to share that he needed security. And I think it's obvious that he needs security if what she's communicating is true. If he's trying to push it, and if he was reactive based off of her idea of the weed, there's a lot happening here. Because I also hear her being open, even though she was probably turned off. Maybe she was turned off based off of how he responded. Based on what we see right here, he responded very strongly. He already admitted that he was aggressive. So there's just this dynamic between men and women where we are going to be who we are. A woman might be more emotional, a man might be more aggressive. But when it comes to bringing two into one, there has to be this consideration of the fact that the other person is different, but we want to try to blend or be still one another with the person that we are interested in, the opposite sex or whatever it may be. If we're interested in someone different than us, then we have to learn how to match to the differences that we are going to accept, because we cannot force these interactions and we can't force these ideologies or concepts for people that don't adopt them. So for instance, we're in this world where it says, we talk about 50-50, we talk about what a real man is, what a real woman is. And some men say they like women to be this way, and some women say they like men to be this way. We don't even have to argue about all of this. Really find your match. Life can be as simple as finding your match. Your match doesn't even mean that I'm looking for someone exactly like me. My match is I'm okay with someone who's open to helping me with the bills. I'm okay with someone who's willing to feed me a sandwich when I come home from work because I do this for her. What's happening, and this is just my view or observation of a lot of these battles, is that we're mad at people for being who they are instead of going in the direction of the people who we say should be out there. If the people don't exist, if you're looking for this ideal woman or this ideal man, they're not existing, then it might be time to go back to the drawing board and say, are my deal breakers really my deal breakers? Are my standards really true standards? Do I want this? Because you can keep your standards and you can keep your deal breakers, right? That are important to you. But you also have to realize that you just going to be by yourself if you're not willing to be open to the fact that people are going to be different than you. We can't force relationships. And this is going back to my relationship, this spiritual awareness, this journey of awareness intertwining faith, is that when I think about the relationship between us and God, is that is not forced. We should really willingly, we should want to have this relationship and know that in any relationship, there might be something required of us, some type of sacrifice. So when between men and women, a man say like, she need to come home and cook my dinner. She need to make sure that, I can't even think of all the things that I hear on the internet, but you guys insert here all the things that men and women say that they need from one another. That just seems, it seems possible in some cases, but the thing is, you just gotta match that energy. You gotta match it. There is really no space for us to go back and forth. The people who want to be with people who, the people who want to be with people who are one way should be with people who are one way. I know that sounds so blanket statement, and I don't know if it makes sense. But the point here that I'm trying to make is match with the deal breakers that you're willing to break, or match with the deal breakers that the person is not breaking. In that case, we can't be mad at anybody else who don't fit into that realm, because they are allowed to be what this man says, who they are, be who they are. If I'm accepting you for who you are, and I desire to be in a relationship, and I'm willing to be in a relationship, I'm going to try my very best to match the best match possible. We think about data and the opportunity and chances. How close am I going to get to that ideal person that I want? If I am thinking about that song by Wale, there's in the beginning, Jerry Seinfeld is talking about marriage and how you might be jumping off a cloud and you try to get as close as you can to whatever it is, right? And so when you find someone, it's like, oh, this is close enough. Like, maybe she was in that point where it's like she did like everything about him, but it was just this one little thing where he smoked weed. And it's like, can I live with that or can I not live with that? We have to be honest with ourselves. But at the same time, maybe we are getting so close to like being with that person that is going to get as close as we can. But we have in the back of our mind, like, I can get better, I can do better, I can do better. And that keeps us away from being in a relationship where we can grow with people. We can discover. This is what this relationship thing is about, is discovering what it is. And then discovering, what am I willing to sacrifice? Really, relationships are, what am I willing to sacrifice? Whether that be my time, my energy, or a perspective or idea, am I willing to sacrifice? If not, then I maybe not should be in relationships or this relationship. Let's keep watching.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I just
said we're gonna see. When I get there, it's not like I wasn't answering my phone. I was still answering my phone. I was still texting you back. It's just when my phone actually broke, I think that's what set him off, because he was like, you're horrible at communication. Once again, sir, you don't know me like that. So he went real.
Let me tell you something. It don't take that much to know a person. All you to take a couple conversations. I dealt with a lot of women before. So don't tell me what I don't know. I don't know you particularly. I don't. But I know these certain traits and stuff that women do. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not categorizing you, but I've seen this before, and that's all it is. I need to know. I need assurance as a man to know if the woman that I'm gonna date or be with wants me. I need communication. I need an understanding.
So is he blocked on everything, like Instagram, phone number, all of that, or just Instagram?
Yeah, because like I just felt like he went straight to Instagram to post that he should have popped my balloon when we just spoke. I thought we were gonna try and see each other, but then to go on Instagram and post something like that without telling me, again, it's not that deep. I don't know you, you don't know me. Block.
You're right. You're right.
What's the point? Like, you didn't even talk to me first. You don't need to. And I'm the one horrible at communication.
So Brian, you posted that on your Instagram after you didn't hear back from her for after a few hours?
I posted that when I got the clarification that she wasn't into me. And she, honestly, when I got the clarification of that, that's honestly when I decided to do it. Okay. You know, when I felt that disconnect.
So did you guys communicate and tell each other, you know what, I don't think this is going to work anymore? Or it was just, she said what she said, you post on Instagram, boom, block, and that was it?
Well, like I said, honestly, it's not going to work because like I told you, I smoke weed. So I know it's not going to work. I mean, she don't like that. And I'm not changing something that I do or something that I've been doing before I met her. She either accept what I do. She should have been upfront with what she wanted, you know, and that's just it.
Okay.
I was a lot of things that happened that I was, not necessarily okay with, but I wasn't trying to be picky. The reason why I'm on the show is to explore different opportunities of love and what love looks like and what it could have looked like. So I was just telling him I was open to seeing, because maybe I am a little too much sometimes. I'm a princess, I'll give you that. But when it comes to the weed, it was just he was already trying to be all up under me. Like, so if you're gonna smell like weed and be up under me, and I'm in real estate, I'm a professional, so yeah, I can't be smelling like weed when I go meet my clients. Not to say that's the case, but yeah, that would be a problem if it has to be that often for you, because it's twice in one setting or one. That is a problem. But I was trying to be open. I was trying to be open-minded and see if maybe I'm the one who needs to be like more open. I don't know.
Okay.
More honest.
Oh man. Okay.
It's not dishonesty, Brian. I don't see if again, I known you for 48 hours before I told you I didn't like it. At least you know now, like
I should have known that on Pop the Balloon.
oh my God. And I should have known you had just went through a breakup in July. Like, stop. You don't know everything that quick. So everybody's supposed to just put it all out there.
He's a tough cookie. He's tough. He should have known on Pop the Balloon. Look, I feel a little triggered, and I probably should like relax a little bit. I'm trying to look at both sides of the story here. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not biased because I'm a woman and I understand her right now. But how? How is that dishonesty? Do we have a definition for honesty? Because it's not dishonest if you're discovering. How can it be dishonest if she shared once she was in the experience, in the environment, in the situation, to know more about you? Because she could have matched with someone who smokes weed, but smoked weed maybe once a week or smoked weeds on occasion. No one knows this until we go through a discovery journey. And I think what's interesting about him saying he should have known that from the beginning is that it takes away this idea that we are learning people. I don't know, yo. I'm trying to be balanced, but goodness grief.
They're right on the front street to know. No, it moves so quick. That's the like. If anything, I should have popped y'all balloon because y'all came casual when I came all dressed up, and I was like looking at y'all like, oh, "Are we going to two different places?" Like,
Okay.
Did BM tell them different things? So I was really trying to be open-minded.
No, everyone stole the same thing, dressed to impress, first date attire. So, oh man, okay, yeah, I can see that this was not going to head anywhere after the conversation that you guys had. But, to go ahead and just kind of like wrap everything up, any upcoming projects that we can be looking out from either one of you? Let's start with Brian.
Well, like I said, I'm still doing my podcast. I'm still doing my motivational speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still doing my everyday exercise and personal fitness, and also I'm still doing my business. So that's just pretty much it. I want to come back on Pop the Balloon. I'm single. I'm open.
Okay.
I'm open. I'm in the field now. So yeah.
And now any possible future matches, they know Brian is a weed smoker. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a weed. Yeah. And guess what? And any woman that come on there, be honest. Tell me if I ask you guys some of your dislikes of the man, and be honest. Just be honest, okay? And we don't gotta go through this because I wasted my time. Thank you. I had fun though. I had fun.
Well, maybe you'll find your match after this. Now
I had fun.
It's possible.
So, Valeisha, you are so sweet. I enjoyed your presence. I enjoyed, meeting you. And I mean, I'm not saying this. Like I said, we could talk in the future, but I just told you what I do and what I indulge in. And you know what's up.
Yo.
I mean, even though I blocked you, it's cool. There's no, as a dating potential, obviously, we're clear that would never be. But as a cool person too, thank you. You too.
And now, Valeisha, any upcoming projects on your end?
I mean, I can't say that I have anything to announce as far as projects. I do real estate coast to coast. So if you guys need me, I'm still doing that. I will say I am still single. I won't necessarily say I want to come back to the show, but through all that I've been doing in the introspect, I realized that what I am looking for in a man, and you guys' show has kind of helped me to even evaluate that more and being more truthful, as Brian says. And being truthful with myself, though, I have to admit that my heart is still with someone else. So I feel like even though I thought I was ready to date, I feel like, I rather send a public apology right now to Micah Murray, who was someone who now I realize I dropped the ball and fumbled, because that was someone who I think genuinely is, looking back, I messed that up. I dropped the ball, fumbled that person who I think now, through everything I've learned about myself, through everything that I'm looking for, they fit. And I messed that up.
Okay. And this is your ex?
This is an ex, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think they would talk to me again, because they probably would feel like a fool, just because, ego, pride, whatever friends, family may say. But I think just taking accountability for myself, I was the one that mishandled the situation. As Ryan said, I could have been more communicative when it comes to certain things. So maybe he's right. I could work on that.
Okay.
And but I want to just send my public apology. He'll probably never watch this show, and I don't know what could ever come of that.
You never know.
And maybe nothing ever will, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say this, because if his friends, family, somebody is watching, I publicly apologize, because I see the errors in my and flaws in my ways.
Okay.
And I genuinely hurt that person who I want to apologize to.
So,
I'm still reacting the same way as when I watched this video at first. This is so beautiful to me. And I would encourage, and this is why this is good content. I'm revealing this because this is good content, because we do see a little bit of back and forth. We do see differences, but it's very relaxed. It's very neutral. It's showing us that we all have flaws one way or the other. And I think what I appreciate about what she shares here is that she's realizing that there's a flaw in her and she's expressing it. And I believe that sometimes when we are engaging with one another, we pretty much want people to say that they have a flaw, or we want them to admit that they did something wrong. And in a case like this, she's admitted it, that she has some issues. She's even taken in some insight from somebody she might have had some differences with or had misunderstandings with. And she still took in that to see if she could do that introspective analysis, as she mentioned here. And I would say we all have room to do that. If we are in strife, sometimes it could be that we're absolutely 100% right. We just got it all right. But there's also room to say, maybe there's something that I'm missing here. Maybe there's a moment for me to take a break. Maybe I'm leaning into this argument because of something that I feel insecure about. Maybe I'm leaning into this argument because I really did like her and I want her to accept all of me. Or whatever the case is, for our own personal experiences. So take this time. If you don't take anything from this video, take this time and review some of the disconnects that you have with people, some of the arguments that you had, maybe even a recent argument, and try to write on a piece of paper. And I like to keep it simple, although I like to do a lot of talking, give a lot of questions. Let's make this one simple. Write on a piece of paper what was going on with that argument. Like, what was the thing that triggered you most out of that argument between you and another person? And write down all of the things that you wish they were accountable for. What do you wish you think they should apologize for? What do you think that they should have said? And on the other side, meet them halfway in understanding where you could have leaned or understood. Honestly, maybe some of us do a good amount, maybe some of us have a good amount of self-awareness in our arguments. Maybe some of us have a good amount of patience when we're talking. Maybe a good amount of us don't immediately go to wrath or misunderstanding. But my purpose in sharing this with you all is before we get into our next fight or we get into our next argument, it might be worth it to practice how we want to show up. Do we want to show up with patience? Do we want to show up with any fruits of the spirit, long suffering, kindness? Do we want to show up with self-control? I believe that the fruit of the spirit is the easiest way to interact, but it still takes some time of practicing and setting ourselves up for success. I'm not sure if it's going to work for everyone, but if you come across this video, challenge yourself to set yourself up for success for your next engagement with someone that you disagree with. Because when I watch this, I've seen a few different interviews and you can feel the tension between the two. They both show up as themselves. It's not too much tension. You can tell it's not going to work, but there's still some practice of self-control. Not saying that they did this assignment, but I think that the conversation went well. And let's just watch the rest of this. That's probably the last thing I wanted to share about this, because this is the point I wanted to get to, y'all. This is so interesting. It was kind of like left. Like I had no idea that this was going to come out. Like she's admitting that through dating experiences, through the discovery of engaging with other people, we do learn what it is that we want. But what happens sometimes is we don't know what we want. We don't know what we want because we think that we want one thing and we have everything, and then we have that more, right? When I said earlier about getting closer to that cloud, but maybe you won't take that cloud because you think you can get it better and better and better. But I think the beautiful part about being in relationships, the beautiful part about being in life is the unknown, the discovery, the learning, the evolvement that we can have, the evolving that could happen. So we want to put ourselves in the best position to be with someone where the adventure will be fun and safe and you love it there, but also making room that, it might be a little challenging during this time, but I am choosing the person that I feel like the challenge is worth it. I'm choosing a person that makes me win the game, right? If we setting ourselves up to be winners, we could put ourselves in the most difficult situation ever where someone is just completely opposite from us and we're just always mad at everything that they do and how they breathe. Or we could put ourselves in a position where, hey, that person gets on my nerves in this area, but I'm willing to involve in this way. You know, I'm willing to practice patience with this person. I'm willing to use this experience to help me with kindness. I might even use this experience to help me get out of an addiction that I have, right? Sometimes we might come into a relationship and we might meet someone who has an addiction to something and someone will love us through it. We want that to be the common denominator, that they love us at where we are. So in this case with this man, he wanted to be loved for where he was. But what if he was loved for who he was, but then the love transformed him into something different? Now, I think both men and women have a problem with this, where we want to make someone, we go into the situation where we want to build a person. So we really do have a problem with someone. We really do have a problem with their addiction, or we have a problem with something and we think they can change them, and they may never change. The challenge is, can I still work with this person? Am I able to tap into a unconditional love, even though they may never change with what they have and what they're giving me right now on the table? If they give me all this on the table, am I willing to still love them if they never change at the end of this? But am I willing to be the type of person that is patient and loving and see them above the flaws that I see? That's the big challenge when it comes to this love game. And I don't think love is for everyone. I don't think everyone that's up for that challenge of being patient, of not keeping a record of wrongs, right? We want to keep a record of wrongs. We want to be quick to wrath, but it's a challenging. We talk about men playing video games and people out here playing games in life. Love is one of the most challenging games, not because we want to manipulate people's hearts and, tear each other apart, but because it challenges us to be better people with someone that is completely different than us, right? It's not going to be the most easiest journey, but it's the most fulfilling in some cases, because now if you put yourself in the best position to be the best in the game, you will change, you will get better. if you are practicing, right? When we think about someone, men like athletes, men like watching these games. You know what happens with these athletes and these people who get better in life? They are practicing at becoming the best. So if we are going to be in a relationship, whether we're a man and a woman, it takes practice at these things that are a part of our makeup, part of our character, that can make us even better at being a wife, or better at being a girlfriend, or better at being a husband, or better at being a boyfriend. Like, it's just not, I'm coming here and you serve me all only. We're serving one another. This is a serving game. And it's built for a certain type of people. It's not built for the weak. It's not built for the ones who want to whine and cry and find complaints. It's built for people who want to activate love on a different level, which could be challenging, but also fulfilling. That's my theory. Y'all let me know. Is love supposed to be easy? Is it supposed to be hard? I don't know.
So coming on the show kind of made you realize, like, ooh, maybe I wasn't ready to put myself out there to date?
I think I'm ready to date. I'm just saying that I realize the things that I'm looking for. And I'm looking back at myself on this show and I'm saying, I want this multidimensional man. I want somebody who's going to be a leader. I'm looking at all these things and I realized I had that. And I'm humbly saying, because I'm sure a lot of women won't admit it, I dropped the ball and I was not in a whole place like I am now, the same person to actually admit that then.
Yeah.
And so it may not ever happen with that person, but whoever gets me next will get more of a whole woman instead of the broken person that I was when I dated him.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good to hear, the self-reflection and the accountability that you're taking now. So, like we said, hopefully this message gets to him and we see what comes of it.
Look at Brian.
Ryan, Ryan, what's going on?
I'm out.
It's not about you, buddy.
Yeah, but I know it ain't about me, but damn, that's why.
Thank you for helping me appreciate what I'm looking for.
All right. Don't put me in it. I'm not in the equation. This is between you and this. I'm not in the equation. But I mean, I wish the best of you. I hope you listening. I hope you can get them back. But hey, good luck to you.
Yeah, honestly, good luck to both of you guys. And thank you both for coming on today. And I wish you, like I said, I wish you both the best in your business, in your love life. Brian, maybe we'll see you again. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
he wants to be seen. He will be back.
Be on the lookout. No, I want love. I'm gonna find somebody. How about that?
You will.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Thank you for coming on. And everyone at home, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you all next time.
Bye.
Yo, I couldn't tell when she mentioned this because it was so left field. If she was trying to make it seem like, man, this guy was just so much trash that I just had to be accountable for the God that was good. I think there was some genuineness in this, but it was almost like at the end, I was just like, if she just saying that because she like, it ain't about you, I was like, I don't know, because it was like a little bit of a diss, but in the most like relaxed way where it's like, there's this other guy, not you, because you just showed me how a mess the dating world is, and like, goodness, being with you was just like, man, I had dropped the ball with such a phenomenal man. Like, I got a little bit of that. I don't know if y'all did, but even with that, I feel like the accountability, the practice, or that thought process still had a lot of good benefits to it. And I think we all can learn from it, where when we are engaging with people, if there's somebody that we love and that is easy to love, but we keep looking for more and more and more, that journey of more and more and more is just going to keep us looking for more and more and more. I think that we all should have standards and boundaries, and no one should just take anything when it comes to relationships. But again, that's going back to the beginning of this whole video, is understanding who you are, what your deal breakers are going to be the most important thing as far as a starter pack. We're going on to these shows, understand what those deal breakers are. Don't go through an entire conversation where you start to like really feel this person. Because if you go through the conversation without understanding the deal breakers, then you start to compromise. It's like, dang, I really want to be with this person, but I know I don't like this. If we start off with like, this is what I want to match with. I want to match with someone who believes in God. I want to match with someone who has already accomplished X. I want to match with someone who has the character of this, right? If we know these things about ourselves, and we take time for this introspective journey, this discovery journey, all of our interactions and all of our relationships will end up a lot more seamless. And that's my theory. Y'all let me know in the comments. Is there another route? Should we just pretend not to have deal breakers? Or, just let me know. Because some of us probably had good outcomes by ignoring a lot of things and then everything worked itself out. But when we think about data, when we think about the chances in life, we have to be thoughtful, mindful. Until next time, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. If y'all made it to the end of this video, I really would appreciate it. Okay. If you left a yellow heart in the comments, I'm just trying to see if there's one person out there in America, of the United States, or maybe another country that decided to stay this long with me. I'm just doing it for one person. If it's just me and you and talking, I appreciate you sharing your time with me and listening to me talk and reviewing content that can help us on this self-awareness journey. Until next time, hold on to you as much as you can. Hold on to your health, your well-being, and your mind. Be mindful. Bye.